Hey everybody, welcome back to Diesel Creek. My name's Matt. It is the most wonderful time of the year, as they say, and that's not because Christmas is coming. It's because it's auction time. Currently en route to go meet my buddy Bob up at the Ritchie Brothers auction yard, and we're gonna see if we can't find some treasures. So here we are, back to the promised land of junk equipment. Got some more cranes right inside the gate there. That's where the old $3,500 unit was parked. We're gonna keep an eye on those guys. You never know what kind of deal we might get on an even better crane. We actually got a pretty good lineup of dirt machines. This auction for a long time had kind of gotten away from heavy equipment for dirt, and it was a lot of other random stuff, but this is a pretty good lineup to see. Some nice tractors here. My buddy Bob is looking for a skid steer with an enclosed cab, so we're gonna start there. There's a lot of people that swear by these ASVs, but they're pretty tiny in the cab. I'm a big guy. You get into one of those cabs and it's not big. I think they have some sort of deal with Caterpillar, or they're partly owned by Caterpillar, something weird, because I think those controls are Caterpillar controls, aren't they? They say cat on them. They look like a cat console. Like yeah. You can also notice on the ASVs they have a different type of undercarriage. This is called a bogie system. And it's got a very different open drive sprocket deal than right over here on a traditional style undercarriage. Very, very different. I believe these machines also have a suspension system built into the track, so if you watch right at the front of the track, the machine kind of springs independently of the track. I think that is achieved from some sort of a torsion spring. Gives the operator a really nice smooth ride, but it does make it kind of difficult to grade with. That undercarriage is super quiet the way they build these. Like I said, I don't know a ton about these ASVs. I did just notice that that's a 75 and this is a 120. So this should be a good bit bigger machine, probably, and weight and horsepower. And it looks like the tracks are a bit wider on it as well. Both look like they're in pretty decent shape. Undercarriage is better on this one. This is probably about the size that Bob would be looking for anyhow. I would love to get my hands on one of these guys right here. This is a Cat 963. This thing's gonna bring some money, because the last time these were here, I really underestimated how much these went for. I think I was expecting like $5 grand. Granted, this is a much newer one, but they were still a rear engine 963. And they went for, I think, $40,000 at that time. Prices have come down, and this is a newer machine, so this could probably still wind up in that $40,000 to $50,000 range, I would guess. Well out of my price range. Looks pretty tight.
He feels like a cat. Control.
Nice and quiet. I don't know what these things go for. I don't see enough of them sell. I'd say it's probably going to go around 27 if I had to guess. How many hours are on it?
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
That one there, the undercarriage is a little more tore up on. It's a bigger machine. It doesn't have air conditioning.
It doesn't?
No.
This one has AC.
Moving on to the old kitty cat here. This is a 289C. Buckets. Well, it's not into the mold board yet, but the cutting edge is due to be replaced. Power disconnect. Started right up. It's pretty cold out here today. Could use a set of sprockets. Tracks aren't bad. Actually, the tracks themselves are about brand new. But those sprockets are definitely worn. A lot of slop in the connector plate on the bucket, but that's not really the machine's fault. The machine itself doesn't appear too bad. Well, the verdict is on the kitty cat that I think Bob's going to pass on it. This track is about loose as a goose. And she's got 5,900 hours? Yeah, so getting up there.
Not great, not terrible.
Probably lean towards something with a few less hours. I'm going to put 22 on this one. Look at this gem right here, though. We're going to need an air compressor for sandblasting. She's rotted out, but the internals might be all right. That doesn't seem good. I think our battery's dead. Looking at how rusty it is and everything, I'm going to put 600 bucks on it. It's going to go for more than that, probably. Little D6. That's an LGP. Look at that. Those are got to be 42-inch tracks on that bad boy. 6R too. I like the R models. 7R is the best sounding tractor that they ever made. Modern tractor anyway. 6N, 6T, way out of my price range. I don't know. Little Komatsu 39. That's a nice little guy.
It is a nice one.
I don't need it. I know I have plenty of Dozers, but cute little guy. I like a Komatsu. Same exact blade as what's on my 41, I do believe. Got a few Mini X's here. Clean looking Bobcat, but I'm not a Bobcat fan. Looks like a 303. Little Kobelco 2 SK80s. And a little Yanmar Vio 88 maybe. I don't like these cabs. They just look weird. You're sitting in a greenhouse. No, I was wrong. It's a 75, not an 88. It's got these weird offset tracks where they're wider on the inside than they are on the outside of the sprocket. This Kobelco, it looks like it's seen a battle or two. Yeah, that door's kind of spring-loaded now. Firing up the 303. Undercarriage has got some hours on it, that's for sure. A little bit of rust developing. Started and ran pretty good though. Look at here, it's got a recent Coric auction number on it. I've seen this before. I think people buy stuff at the Coric auction and then bring it down here to this auction thinking they're going to make more money on it. From what I've seen, the opposite is true. You'll actually get more money at the Coric auction, but what do I know? Oh yeah. Few pins, few bushings, she'll be brand new. How many hours are on it?
3,000.
3,000 hours is not bad. That could still be a pretty good machine. Runs nice, it started easy. I see the side panel's pretty dinged up. Bent, doesn't fit right, it's rusted. That slop really isn't that bad.
I think it's in a coupler.
Yeah, a lot of it's in the coupler, some's in the pins. Stick pin. Needs pin and bushing on the stick too. Doesn't look bad though. The Backhoe coupler down there onto the house is usually where you get a lot of slop. It doesn't look like it's clapped out. It's got a little bit of slop in it. It's at the point where you can actually just fix it right now with pins and bushings though, versus screwing things up too bad and you need to line bore it. I'm gonna say 22 on the old 303. Got a Komatsu 400 here. She doesn't look too hammered out. A couple froze track links, so it's been sitting. If it runs and it works, I'm gonna say it's gonna go for 30, 35. These big ones don't really bring that much. Quite the excavator selection out here this time. There's gotta be 35 machines here. Little PC 160 here. 160 is probably the best all-around machine. You can do some tight work. You can do some serious dirt moving too. This one's had the old 5-gallon overhaul. But you can see by the scars and the counterweight that it's seen some stuff too. Looks like the bucket bleeds off. That's why it's sitting there goofy like that. I don't think somebody would have parked it like that. Hard to say if it's really worth doing the 5-gallon overhaul too. Looks like it's the only one of the bunch that's had it. The rest of them Well, they just wearing their scars with pride. Buddy Sam over at Scrappy Industries just picked up one of these SK170s. I think he was into it for 18. Maybe slightly better condition, and I mean very slightly. The big difference being is it has single grouser pads on it. I don't remember if his has a quick coupler or not, but this one, somebody's taken a torch to it to make it fit different types of buckets. It's not really ideal. Machine than his that has def. So stay away from that anyways. I'm gonna put this thing in the upper 20s, low 30s. Here's a pretty big girl. Case 490. Catwalk machine. You know, when you start seeing catwalks on machines, you're getting into some pretty good size iron. Now, that is a forklift right there, buddy. Wowzers. Those forks are taller than they are long. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But I can't imagine what this thing is rated to lift. We gotta look and see if there's a load chart on this thing. There's a fan running in here that probably shouldn't be. Oh, the computer's on. We'll shut that off so the battery doesn't die. I don't see any load charts. I'll Google it, let you guys know what this thing picks, because I am impressed. I don't know how many trucks Penske had to get rid of this year, but I know that at this site alone, they've gotten rid of hundreds. Hundreds of them. That is a lot of Penske trucks. The old Chevy short bus here. Boy, that could be fun for something. That's what you used to take to school, isn't it, bud?
Yeah.
Old Bob's a short bus rider. Look at the F800, huh? Pretty solid looking box on it. It's a good little dump truck here. Oh yeah. Fired right up. A little smoky, but it's cold. That's fair. Nice box on this unit. Very solid. Got a low tire, crappy tires in general. Tailgate's a little hammered out. Decent hitch plate. Clearly hasn't been ran in quite a while. It's got vegetation growing in it. It's a dog box style bed too, so it's got one telescopic ram that lifts the bed rather than a scissor lift like mine. I'll tell you what, this might actually be worth keeping an eye on. That's a good little chassis for something, and a good dump bed. Might make a good site truck. There we go, he found the parking brake release now. Oh yeah, what a gem. The cab's not even rotten on it. That'd be an awesome site truck. Put some diggers on there. 2 rotten places. Maybe it's not quite the truck I thought it was, but still not bad. But outside of that, she's cherry. I'm gonna put $2,500 on that unit. She's a runner. Got the old plow truck special here. Tell you what, doesn't really look that bad. It's been repainted, pretty clean. Probably got the old 5.4 Triton in it. She's as bare bone gets. Couldn't even afford door pockets on this unit. Wow! Would you believe it if I told you this thing didn't even have a single exhaust leak? A Ford gas job with no exhaust leak. That is impressive, my friends. I'm gonna keep an eye on this thing. My dad always talks about plowing snow in the wintertime. He used to do it back in the day. This might be his rig. That is a... Oh, I'm sure it's not perfect, but it's got 77,000 miles on it, and it doesn't have an exhaust leak. For a Ford, that's unheard of. And I'm a Ford guy. I'm gonna guess that truck goes for $4 grand. So one thing we need to be cognizant of in this sale is that it is the end of the year sale. So this is where people come to blow their money before Uncle Sam takes it. So things can tend to go a little bit higher than they should at these sales because people are literally just trying to spend the money. This dump trailer comes with a free putting green. Everything's here for a reason. That frame is bent.
Put it down.
Here's your problem, Jimmy. If you just keep sucking the dump bed down, it'll just bend the frame back the other way. It'll be fine. More Penske stuff. Whole bunch of car trailers. Tell you what, these would be perfect size if you had a Razor or a buggy like that. You wanted to haul it around. These are a nice light trailer. Galvanized, not going to rust on you. Got the ramps on it and everything. Just the perfect size for a Razor. Back here to my favorite spot in the auction now. The Inoperable section. These are where the real deals are at, boys. Need a Blawnox paver with trees growing in it? Well, we can probably get that pretty cheap. But what I am back here to look at is this Skytrack. This thing is pretty nice. But it's listed as inoperable for some reason. Does not have any attachment on it, which is a major drawback. Finding one of those, while probably not impossible, is probably expensive. Got to factor that in. Do we have any signs of life? We got power. Does it crank? Well, the battery's pretty weak, but it spins over and sounds like the engine is not grenaded. I would say that we have maybe a transmission issue. I think these are kind of known for that. I'll have to see what the website says. They usually give a pretty good rundown on what is wrong with them. Yeah, no windows in the block on this side. Looks like a 4-cylinder Cummins. And we got low coolant, low oil. Hard to say what could really be wrong with it at this point. Tell you what, it'd be ideal. My buddy Sam was saying slap a 4BT in this thing, get rid of all your emissions crap, and have a good functioning machine maybe. Provided there's no transmission issues. We'll see what she goes for. I really have no idea what this would go for. I would probably go up to $6 or $8 grand on it, but that would be a pretty good deal if I could get it for that. Well, I've seen a lot of stuff come and go through this auction, but I've never seen a boat just laying here without a trailer on it. That's a pretty stout little boat, though. That is a solid, thick-hulled aluminum. She's meant for pushing stuff, I reckon. Looks like it's been around a lot of painting or spray foaming or something. They might use this on construction jobs, painting bridges or whatnot. I don't know how you pronounce that engine name, but I've never heard of it, but I'm not a boat guy. Tohatsu, maybe? The prop is in rough shape, bud. They have hit some stuff with that thing. Barnacles growing all over it. This thing's a wildlife contaminating disaster. Now these are some improper military tractors. The last sale we bought a converted deuce and a half, but these are the real deal. Some sweet looking trucks. They used to use these, a local company did, building pipelines around here. Look at the bumpers, huh? It's like they're compensating for something, isn't it? They keep going cheap enough, we might have to own these. Buddy trying to... You're stealing my 98 Accord, man! This thing's literally got all the bells and whistles. We just don't know how to use any of them. We got Backhoe Alley here, and it's well established on the channel that I'm not a big backhoe fan, but that international backhoe I have has kind of made me want a better backhoe, because that one's never going to be a good one. And I'm not a Deere fan either, but I've heard a lot of good things about these Deere backhoes. And they just look like a pretty stout unit. Let's see if the old 410B is going to fire up. Contact. Wow. Well, you couldn't really ask for anything better than that. That thing started right up. 3,800 hours on the clock. Got wobble sticks on our hoe rather than, you know, modern stuff. Throttle cable needs lubed severely. Heater motor works. Yeah, I don't know, it'd be worth keeping an eye on. I'm not going to spend a lot of money on it though. I'd maybe go to 8-10 grand, if that. Nice Caterpillar hose there. I'm not even going to look at those because they're going to go for way more than I'll ever spend because they say Caterpillar on them. Nice newer case, and then a couple of these Super L models. These are 590s versus the 580 is the one that you normally see. These cases are also a supposedly good machine. You see a ton of them. A lot of people swear by them. This one's got a clam bucket on it. That one's got a worn out bucket on it. And it's missing the door. But these should have 4BT Cummins in them. Well, I don't know if they're turbo. 4B Cummins at the very least. Moss on the floor. Lots of water intrusion by the looks of things. Those cat machines are going to go for probably around 30, I would say. Maybe even a little more. I really don't know the market on those too well. The John Deere I'm after, I'm going to say is going to go around 16 to 18, which is considerably more than I want to spend on one. The case that I was in there with the clam on it, I bet it's going to go for around 20, maybe 18.
Wow, winning.
25-ton Terex here. Give it a little look over. These haul trucks can get real expensive in a hurry. Transmissions, final drives, brakes. You want to buy one working and you don't want to have to put much into it. Alrighty. I'll tell you what, fired up awful quick. Got 9,192 hours on it. Got a battery light on, so maybe we're not charging. Full tank of fuel. Does the bed go up and down? Seems to. Well, it seems like it goes forward and backward okay, but as soon as I hit the brakes to slow down there to try to stop, it stalled out the engine, so I don't know what the deal is with that. So, might just be because it was cold, I'm not sure. Now that is a floor jack. Holy crap. I wouldn't even want that thing hogging up room in my shop. I'd just as soon use a bottle jack. Well, we just finished up browsing the auction there. I think we might have to bid on a couple things. I don't know that I found anything I couldn't live without, but definitely a few things that if they go for the right money, wouldn't be bad. I kind of look at this stuff like an investment, not really so much things that I even maybe want to keep. Out here at the auction, you never know what things go for, like that Grove crane. I really didn't need a bigger crane, but for that kind of money, it's hard to pass up. And I can use it for a while and end up selling it after I use it for more money than I paid for it. So that's just kind of how I look at these things. Anyway, the auction's tomorrow. We'll wait and see how it shakes out. Well guys, it's about a week after the auction. There's another sale in the books, and as you may have guessed, we found a few things that we couldn't live without. I got 4 items from the sale, all of them from the time to auction. Nothing, no big crazy high ticket items or anything, but go ahead, drop a comment down below if you think you have an idea what I was able to snag up, and I will join you guys in a second back at the auction yard so we can pick up our treasures. Ended up meeting my buddy Bob for lunch, and he said he'd come over here and help me get a couple things home, so he's gonna back up here, hook up with the first item. Lamar! Oh! You're good. It is cold up here today, I'll tell you that. Well, there's the first guy all hooked up, ready to go, so if you had light plant as one of your auction result answers, you were correct. I actually got two of them. Both Doosan / Ingersoll brand, and one of them says it works. I think it's this one. They verified that it functions. This one over here was not tested. I'm betting the battery is just dead, but I don't have a way to verify that yet, so we're gonna play with it when we get it home, and hopefully they both work. But I paid $800 a piece before, before your fees and taxes and all that, so whatever that works out to. But that's a pretty good deal. These are newer units. I think they're 2012s or somewhere around there. 5,800 hours according to the meter, with the exception of the lights being different. This is the exact same unit that I have at home already. Good unit, I like it. Bob's got a light plant, I got a light plant. We're ready to hit the road. As soon as we pull into the driveway, it starts to go into this, like, it's not hail, but it kind of looks like it. It's just like really thick, heavy snowflakes almost. But anyway, we got the two light plants home. We got to go back for two more items, so drop your guesses down below. So here's our last two items. Ended up picking up this Doosan compressor. I think it's 185 CFM. It was a former Sunbelt unit, so had fleet maintenance. Should be in pretty good shape. I did test it before the auction. It ran, so that's good enough for me. Paid $3,000 for this guy. Didn't think that was too awful bad. The other thing we got over here is a ground heater, and we're gonna have to get more into that once I get it back to the shop, but I screwed up on this one, so I'm usually pretty good at buying stuff sight unseen. This one I should have looked at a little better. We are eastbound and down. I got that pallet all ratchet strapped down there. Compressor's all hooked up. We're out of here. That's good because it's snowing sideways and the wind is really picking up. It's not that cold out, but that wind is brutal. Well, it is the next day. We're going to go ahead and inspect our treasures here. I believe this is the unit that they said operated. It was 13 degrees this morning, so I guess we're going to get a good cold start out of it, if it starts. This one has 5,862 hours on it.
Well, that's not great, but it's not horrifying.
Give her some glow plug here. Contact. All right. Nice. Hard to argue with that. Let it run a second, and then we'll try to fire up the lights and see if any of them work. Nothing yet. It takes a little while for these to come on, especially in the cold. Oh, here we go. We got two working. Nothing on that one. Might just be light bulbs. It's usually what's wrong with these things. The only thing wrong with this that I did notice is the main power cable that runs up the boom somehow got all curly-cued and twisted like that. We'll have to try to figure out how to alleviate that. I'll tell you what, this unit is very quiet. I like that about it. These two lights are still coming online. Still nothing out of these other two, it doesn't look like. No. But 2 out of 4, and it could just be light bulbs, like I said. Runs super nice. Can't complain about that at all. I'd call that a W for 800 bucks. Let's check the other one out here. Well, this unit here, right off the bat, I can see is missing an alternator. So, doubt it's gonna start. They got some things torn apart here. I see a broken wire down there by the starter. It does have a block heater. I need that for the Ventrac. Same engine. Yep, missing an alternator, missing a battery, and it's closing in on 10,000 hours. It's got 9,506 hours. I don't know if she's gonna run or not. I hope so. I hope there's nothing wrong with it. Hopefully they didn't start just picking this one for parts or something. I mean, other than the alternator and the battery, it appears that everything's here. So maybe we'll drag this thing in the shop, try and throw a battery in it, and see where we get. They don't make it very easy to get a battery in here, but I've seen worse places, I suppose. Use our calibrated battery installation tool. I guess we should check for some oil and some antifreeze and an air filter before we try to crank on this thing. Let's check the fuel tank too. What we got for fuel? Oh, heck yeah. Fuel tank is almost full. I mean, we're pretty much up on this unit already, even if it doesn't run. I found the dipstick, and not the one holding the camera. The rut row. Now that could be from dragging it around, but we're way over full. Clean the dipstick off. We're gonna check it again, but I can see the oil, so I think that means, yeah, it is full up all the way to the very top. That's not good, but I have hope because the oil does not look dirty. It looks like it's not contaminated or anything. It doesn't visibly have water in it, but it could all be settled out. So we're gonna have to keep doing some inspecting here. Hopefully this engine isn't foobar. We've got to raise the light tower up just a little bit to check the antifreeze. Good enough. All right, well that's good. We got green coolant all the way up to the top. So, well, that's one less thing we could have in the oil overfilling it, theoretically. Or at least I'm hopeful. Check this air cleaner before we try anything. Air cleaner looks nice. No issues there. We have an air cleaner. So we were just looking here, buddy Mike pointed out, it's a 2012 unit, according to the model tag there. And the old United Rentals service date thing there, that's a 2014. In 10 of 2014, it was gonna be up for a service. Almost 3,000 hours in 2 years. This poor thing ran a lot, but being fleet maintained, you hope that it actually got good oil changes, and that's maybe not that bad. I mean, even at almost 10,000 hours, this thing could have a lot of life left in it, provided there's no bigger issues here. So there's no belt on it in the way or anything, so we're not gonna be able to run it long if it starts. Okay, well, it turns over. Cool, let's try this thing out. All right, so I don't know why we're super over full with oil. That's really the only thing that's wrong with this right now. And of course, no alternator. So I'm just gonna crank it over, see if it fires up, and if it does, we know we've got something to work with here. Maybe I'll try the generator real quickly too. All right, we've got us a grinder plugged in. Let's see what's gonna happen here. We're gonna run the glow plugs, do it a little, give it 10 seconds. These little engines don't need a lot of time on them like the big engines do. But it was pretty cold outside where we just brought this thing from. Let's give her a go here. Contact. Oh yeah, come on. All right, I think it's gonna go. I'm gonna let it sit for a second, let that compression kind of warm those cylinders a little bit, heat the glow plugs again, and I bet you it fires up. Might leave it in here if it runs, drain out all that extra oil. I cannot figure out why. It's probably got double the amount of oil in it that it's supposed to have. And contact. Well, it sounded okay. I don't know why it didn't stay running. That might be something to do with the alternator missing. We might not be getting power to stay on that fuel pump shut off. Keep your hand on that solenoid. Do you see it? Yeah, that guy. You'll feel it click when I crank, and when I stop cranking, see if it clicks again. Give her a go. Contact. Yeah, it's probably not happy. We'll check the generator real quick. It doesn't sound like it's running quite right, but it doesn't sound terrible. Nothing's obviously like knocking or anything. Yeah, we got no power yet. Oh wait. Tripping the GFI breaker as soon as I turn the generator on. So I don't know what would cause that. Could just be a bad, outlet, or there could be something wrong in the generator side of things. I don't know what else would cause that to trip. But even if we just have a good running engine out of this, I mean, these engines are worth more than $800, so I really couldn't go wrong here. It seems like it runs okay. I think if we drained about a gallon of oil out of it, it would probably help the cause. All right, I don't know if that engine is running on all 3 cylinders. I kind of don't think so. So I fired up a thermal camera here, and we can watch that manifold temperature in real time while it's running, and that can tell us which cylinder isn't running, if any. All right, let's try and fire this thing up again for a minute and see what happens here. Yeah, it looks like cylinder number 3 is not firing at all. Yeah, she's not real happy. We could have some water frozen in the fuel system right now. Like I said, we just pulled this out of 13 degrees outside, so there could be some issues here. Overall, I'm still calling this a win. I don't think we're going to have any major issues getting this thing working. All right, so after having it running for a second, let's check this dipstick again. Look at that. It's still not showing any signs of water in it at all. Does not smell like fuel at all, but it is like 0 weight oil, and it is still just way over full. I don't understand what's going on here. That's weird. We're gonna have to do some more investigating on that. We'll call this one to be continued for its own video, because this is turning into a little bit of a project, I guess. So we got the ground heater back, and we got the Doosan air compressor. I think my best buy out of this sale was this air compressor. It's a 2012 model, I think, as well, and it's got 2,300 hours on it. Nice 49 horse Kubota in there, 185 CFM. Anyway, I paid $3 grand for it, and I think it's probably worth more like 8 or 10. So, pretty good buy. Really nothing to do to this one. Should be able to just fire it right up. Sounds like it runs about perfect to me. It might could use a little bit of belt dressing or a couple of the belts tightened up or something, but that's about par for the course around here. Outside of that, she's cherry. Thing runs excellent. Well, there we go. It's idling down for us. Nice. So it took a little while. Probably had to come up to temperature, but now it's idled down. And if we kick open that valve, it should throttle back up. Oh yeah. Yeah. This thing runs sweet. So here's inside of our compressor. 49 horse Kubota. Got a fire extinguisher that expired in 2019, I think. Came with a tool oiler, so this is like if you're running a jackhammer or a drill or something that requires a bunch of oil. You put oil inside of that reservoir and it disperses it as you run it. Got a couple extra valves in here for Chicago couplings. Pretty good little haul, I think. I think this was a good buy. The only thing I noticed that's really wrong with it, we need to find a couple bolts, support our air cleaner here, but that ain't nothing. Boltsandnuts.com got us hooked up for that. Man, we really lucked out. This thing's almost full of fuel as well. I'd say that's 7/8 of a tank at least. Sweet.
$300 worth of fuel.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably only a 30-gallon tank, but still.
You got to solve them.
I'll take it, yeah. I want to see, you can't just look in this thing and see what kind of fuel is left in it, but we need to do that. All right, I'm definitely calling that a great buy. I think that's definitely the best buy of this sale. But I'll turn around 180 degrees and show you guys the worst buy of this sale. Not that it's a bad buy, I just didn't get what I thought I got here. So if you don't know, this is what's called a ground heater or a ground thaw machine, something like that. But basically, you got all those rubber hoses up there, and it is, as it says, a mobile glycol heating system. So you circulate heated glycol through those lines and lay the lines out all over the ground and put thermal blankets on top of them, and it will actually thaw out the ground for you so you can work in really cold conditions. Inside these back doors here, you have a big old hose reel with, I think, like 1,000 feet of this heater line. So yeah, a powered hose reel to suck it all back in. You got your big manifolds down there to hook all your different lines up to. This thing has been sitting for quite a while, I'd imagine, because literal rat's nest in the control panel, so that's never good. From what I can see, immediately it doesn't look like they chewed on much, but until you really get in there and clean that out, we're not going to know. Inside of this door, we have a big oil burner, kind of like a torpedo heater, and that heats up the glycol. And then these pumps are circulation pumps that push the heated glycol through those lines and in turn transfer heat into the ground. If my buddy Fiscardo, the concrete guy's watching, buddy, you need this heater. And when I say I screwed up with this unit, I only say that because I paid $475 for it. I don't think that that's bad even without a power plant, but I thought it had a power plant in there. I was pretty much buying it for the Kubota engine that I thought it had inside. So the other one that was right next to it had a nice multi-quip generator sitting out here on the tongue of the trailer. This one didn't, but I thought that generator was just auxiliary. That looked like it was added by the owner. So I assumed, which was dumb, I assumed there was a Kubota engine in there because a bunch of the other ones of these I've seen sell before all had 3 or 4 cylinder Kubotas inside. So I guess I should have looked at the pictures or looked at it in person even, but that's the game you play when you're just trying to buy stuff because it's cheap. So if anybody needs a mobile ground heater, I'm your guy. I have no use for this thing. I figured worst case scenario, if I can't make any money on it, there's a lot of good components here. I'll never have to buy heater core hose again in my life, or my kids' lives. We'll have all the heater core hose. There's a good fuel tank there. Probably has some fuel in it. And it's a nice little torsion axle trailer. We could probably do something with that. Plus that oil burner in there. Basically, I can make a big turbo heater out of that thing. There's plenty of good components here. I don't think we really did wrong. We just didn't do as good as I thought we did. So that's about where we're at. I guess that's going to wrap up this quarter's auction video. If you guys like tagging along to the auction, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button down below the video. Drop a comment and let me know that this is the stuff you guys like to see. If you guys are looking to pick up any merchandise from the store, dieselcreek.com. Link is down in the description. Pick yourself up some hats, t-shirts, koozies, whatever you're after over there at the store. That's dieselcreek.com. Don't forget to stay tuned so you can see what becomes of that mystery light plant. We still got a lot to figure out on that unit, and that'll be its own little video coming in the future. And lastly, if I don't talk to you guys again before Christmas, hope you guys all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.